Alright guys, with Raw Rustler here, and today I am back. It's been a while. I believe the last video I properly uploaded like this, with a face, was my WrestleMania Night 2 review. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. It is one of the most emotional nights of wrestling you will experience, or I experienced, definitely. But today, it is August, and that means I'm here with my Summerslam 2024 review. Got a can of Sprite today. I believe last time I said I should be sponsored by them. It's a running gag now that I do a can of Sprite. It is a very good can of pop. But yes, SummerSlam 2022. I do want to say a couple of things first. Sorry about this. This is all getting moved. I'm having a kind of flip around in my games room, and I'm just making it look nicer and tidier. So this will all be gone. I plan on doing a couple more videos maybe now, because I'm over summer. I'm 2 weeks into my summer off. I've got 2 weeks where I am busy, but then I've got 2 weeks where I'm not doing anything. So I plan on doing a video. I don't know if I'll be able to do a platinum log video because I'm at a weird number. I'm at number 85, which doesn't feel like a number I can do a platinum log for. Maybe if I got to 90. I don't think I'll get to 90 by the end of the summer, but I suppose I could try, because that would mean I could do 40 games from 50 to 90. I know I haven't done a platinum log in like 2 years, so there's a lot to catch up on, but maybe we'll get there. I really should have done one at 75 or something, like a midpoint. I would like to do collection videos. I've got a bunch of new games added to a bunch of collections, PS5, PS4, PS3, that I'd maybe like to go over as well. And of course, I am in All In 3 weeks. I think I'm All In 3 weeks. I'm very much looking forward to that. I assume when I come back to Lincoln, I will do a video on All In and tell you about my experience. The card so far looks better than last year's. I think maybe it's just been built better. Like last year's matches looked really good on paper. This year's matches have actually been built fairly well. And the build to the Danielson Swerve match isn't great. It isn't great, but it should be like a phenomenal match. MJF and Ospreay, Jack Perry and Darby. You know, I think the show this year looks really, really good. Fingers crossed, nothing bad happens and nobody gets injured. Maybe I get to see Okada. That's really what I'd like. I'd love to see Okada wrestle. I've seen Ospreay wrestle. You know, my favourites of all time now, really, in my life, especially ones who currently wrestle, are like Okada, Cody, Ospreay, Omega, and Jay White. And I've seen a bunch of those guys wrestle. I've never seen Cody wrestle, obviously. And I'd love to see Okada wrestle. He's got that Continental title. Just put him in a match with Pac or Eddie Kingston or something like that, or even a six-man, and I would be fine. But I digress. SummerSlam 2024. I did not stay up last night to watch the show. Drew McIntyre shirt, by the way. I did not stay up last night to watch the show. We got back a bit late, so I decided to watch it this morning. Got up about 9 o'clock, watched the show, finished it about 20-30 minutes ago. I've had a shower since then, so my hair's a little bit wet. So yeah, I was pretty excited for SummerSlam. Obviously not excited enough to watch it live, but it's a 7-match card, and 7-match cards always excite me because it means most of the matches get a decent amount of time. And I suppose we should just get into it. A 3-hour pre-show, which I did not watch, obviously. 3-hour pre-show without matches sounds masochistic if you watched that. More power to you. But the show kicked off with Jelly Roll performing a song, and then the opening match of the show was the Women's World Championship match as Liv Morgan defended against Rhea Ripley, accompanied by Dirty Dom. Now, this feud has been pretty good. I think that Dom and Liv, while Rhea was off TV, did their parts really well. I think that Dom has an innate soap opera ability, and I think he's been very good, and I think Liv has been very good, and I think since Rhea's been back, the feud's been cooking. I wasn't expecting the world's greatest match from these two. I certainly wasn't expecting a match like Rhea had with Becky or like with Charlotte, But I will say, this match actually did surprise me. This match over-delivered in my expectations. I thought this was a very, very good match. It started off with Rhea just decimating Liv. Liv was just trying to get... Liv was rolling out of the ring. Rhea would go after her. Rolling out the ring. Rhea would go after her. Until eventually, Rhea rolled out the ring herself. Liv rolled out. Rhea rolled straight back in. It was very clever. It was good stuff. The women were very good at the beginning of this matchup. And Rhea dominated Liv. Until Rhea gave Liv, she gave her a head kick, she gave her a headbutt, short arm clothesline, stuff like that. Very Paige-style moveset, just noticed that Rhea Ripley's got. She gave her a riptide into the turnbuckle, picked her up for another riptide. Liv counted out of it, gave her an arm drag, and Rhea eventually went into the post. And then Liv sent her into the opposite, well, the adjacent post. And Rhea shouted, it's out. So her shoulder has been dislocated. The one thing about Rhea I've never liked, and this is the only thing, so I think everything else about Rhea's presentation is great, I always find her selling a bit dramatic. I said this back at WrestleMania 36. I've always found her selling a bit too shouty, screamy. And here... she shouted, it's out, okay. Tiny bit too much, but I get the message. So, Liv then began to work on Leah's arm, standing on it, doing a run up the ropes code breaker onto it. This was all kind of good stuff. Eventually, Rhea would roll out of the ring, and she would jam her shoulder into the announce table, and then pop it back into place. And this made the match a bit more even again. Rhea would hit a riptide for a near fall, which Liv kicked out of. Liv would also counter a riptide into a DDT for a near fall, which was a really, really good spot. Both ladies went up top and did something. I can't remember what it was. Eventually, Liv would hit an Oblivion for a near fall, and as she did that, Dom got a chair. Oh, right, sorry, hold on. Now I know where we're going. Rhea got a chair, for no reason really, because Leah wouldn't stay down, I guess. Rhea got a chair, and was going to hit Liv with it, but Dom took it out of her hands, and Dom, as a babyface, told Rhea, you will get disqualified. So he actually was in the right here. You will get disqualified if you do this. Rhea turned around, got hit with the Oblivion for a near fall. Dom would then take the chair, throw it into the middle of the ring, distract the referee. Liv would hit a second Oblivion onto the chair. There was no real drama to the fact that Dom had done it, maybe by accident. It was very clear that Dom had thrown it in so Liv could do this, because Rhea was still reeling from the first Oblivion. But yeah, Liv hit a second Oblivion onto the chair, pinned Rhea, retained the Women's World Championship. I'm going to give the match 3 3/4 stars. It was very good. Honestly, it was a very good match. I'm maybe not selling it enough, because I can't remember enough of the moves, because it was the furthest thing that I remember. The first thing I watched. But it was a very, very good match. Probably one of the Morgan's best matches, really. On the outside of the ring, Dom helps Liv up to her feet, grabs her neck, and plants a big kiss on her. And it looks like Liv was a bit surprised that Dom did it, so maybe it wasn't a cunning plan, and maybe it was Dom who had planned all along to screw Rhea and go with Liv. It's kind of what we saw all along, but it's been decent soap opera wrestling. And it's the finish you expect. Rhea being beat isn't the end of the world, really. Liv having a good title defense and a good title reign will be good for the title. I've got no real qualms with this. I don't know what Dom and Liv are going to do. They'll have to feud with probably Rhea again, and Rhea will have to find a man so they can do a mixed tag, and I assume it'll be Jey Uso? Maybe, because Jey Uso wasn't on the show, and I can't think of anyone else on Raw that would fit. And he's been flirting with Rhea, so it makes sense. But yeah, this was all pretty good. 3 3/4 stars to the match. The post-match stuff was pretty good. And Rhea Ripley, very properly and very well actually, sold the sadness. She was angry, but also you could tell that she was upset. And that was good, because in this case, she needed to be both, really. 3 3/4 stars. Good little opener to Summerslam. The second match on the show was the Intercontinental Championship match as Sami Zayn defended against Bron Breakker. Sami's title reign has been really good. I really like the Chad Gable matches. I maybe wish that they'd maybe done the Chad Gable matches further into his reign, because, I mean, now I know why they did them so quickly. But I wish he'd had a lot longer time for the Chad Gable story to grow. It really was just Sami wins the belt, immediately gets turned on by Chad Gable. The matches were great though. The match at Clash in the Castle and the match on Raw were really good. And the three-way with Bronson Reed was really good as well. And then the Bron Breakker match on Money in the Bank was pretty good. I was very surprised that Sami retained in such a clean fashion. It was almost like Bron Breakker having to pay his dues for a month. But this match here with Bron and Sami was completely opposite of that match. This was all about Bron Breakker. It went about 5 minutes, maybe 6. And it was basically, Bron went for a spear out the gate. Sami leapfrogged him. He went into turnbuckle. That's the second turnbuckle spot of the night. I've already listened to a bit of The Observer this morning, and one of the things they thought about the show was there were 5 consecutive turnbuckle spots, like going into the post spots. And this was the second one, Bron Breakker going into the post after going for a spear. And Sami took control, but realistically, like, the match wasn't long enough for it to get going, really. He did an Asai moonsault. He did a flip dive, a tope to the outside, and he got him in the ring. He went for a haluva kick, and Bron moved, and Bron went for the military press power slam, and Sami got out of that. And Sami hit a blue thunderbomb eventually. But then Bron Breakker would get up, just spear him out of nowhere, and then he would do the really fast ropes 23 miles an hour spear and win the belt. And sometimes it's good to do these things where, the challenger just wins. There's no drama, It's confusing why there was so much drama for the first match. This should have really just been the first match, and Sami should have been the challenger here. Would have been better. Maybe they just wanted to give Sami a tiny bit longer of a title reign, but kind of silly the way they did this. Just switch the matches around. I'm going to rate it 2 3/4 stars because nothing was necessarily wrestled bad. You can't really have a bad match with Sami Zayn. And Bron Breakker's pretty good too. And Bron Breakker will be a world champion one day, and he will probably main event WrestleMania. He is everything they want, and he's actually very good. So I have no issues with him being a big star. 2 3/4 stars. It was a decent match, but obviously never really got going. Third match on the show, LA Knight against United States champion Logan Paul, the Maverick, for the US title. LA Knight appeared in the arena with the big Prime truck that he stole on SmackDown. This was a good match. I never thought it got great. Logan did a big twisting Asai moonsault to the outside, and I think he got rocked a little bit by that. I think he hurt his ankle. But then they got back in the ring, and LA Knight fought back. LA Knight hit an elbow drop off the top rope. Logan hit the right hand at one point and obviously used his boxing experience. Logan hit a right hand for a near fall. LA Knight went for the BFT at one point, and Logan countered and essentially threw him off. A decent spot, actually. As they were outside the ring, LA Knight sent Logan into their Prime hydration station, and then he dragged all of the Logan's entourage, over the barricade and just started stomping them against the barricade. As he did that, Logan took him out. I think he did the springboard clothesline as well on the apron. I think he took him out with the clothesline. MGK jumped the barricade while LA Knight was in the ring, and he gave Logan his brass knucks, which were on a chain. Logan popped them on his fist. He grabbed LA Knight in a headlock as LA was trying to back suplex him over the ropes. The referee couldn't see, so he gave him like a quick jab to the face. Took the knucks. Maybe he kept the knucks on. I think he kept the knucks on. Got in the ring, went to hit him with the knucks again. LA Knight ducked it, hit him with a blunt force trauma. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight is the new United States champion. So that brass knuck shot obviously did very little. Finish aside, LA Knight winning the belt is absolutely the right call. Logan's US title run, even Michael Cole was like, he only had 2 title defenses, but he was an honourable US champion. He won one by DQ, and he won the other in a 3-way where anything could have happened, and he beat Rey Mysterio with a brass knuck shot. So maybe not honourable. The matches have been good. though. Like, all the matches have been good. This one was good. It was probably the worst one. LA Knight, to me, is a great personality. He's a great mesh of Stone Cold and The Rock. He's got a great look. They really like him. He's over. Doesn't do it for me in the ring. And I think I said this in my Mania review. Doesn't really do it for me. On the list of people on this show, if you especially look at the male wrestlers, on the list of the male wrestlers on this show, is he the worst one? Bron Breakker and Sami and Priest and Gunther and Punk and McIntyre and Cody as Solo, maybe? So, it doesn't really do it for me as a wrestler. I'm happy that he got the US title, though, because it's a long time coming, really, for him to get a belt. 3 stars. I'll say this was a good match. It never got above that for me. And then we moved into the next title match. That's 2 championship changes already out of 2. The next title match was the WWE Women's Championship match, as Bayley defended against Nia Jax. This is a long story, they said, all the way back from TakeOver London. That classic my review of TakeOver London where Bayley retained. I couldn't get over the fact that Bayley retained in that match, I remember. That was when Nia was very clumsy, and she was new, and I did not see anything in Nia Jax from a WWE perspective. Now, she is better. She's better, and this match was okay. I don't want to call it good, because it was still pretty slow and plodding. But Nia Jax is better. She does more. She did a leg drop. She did a flip senton onto Bayley. She did a powerbomb onto Bayley. You know, she's got a better moveset now, definitely, than she ever did before. And she's a better presence now. She's a better promo now. Bayley did a few things. Bayley hit an elbow drop off the top rope for a near fall. She hit a Bayley to belly on Nia, which was pretty impressive. She kept going for the Rose Plant, which is still one of the worst finishes, and she couldn't get it. Yeah, and then Nia Jax went for an Annihilator. Bayley got up, hit a massive powerbomb on Nia, probably the best spot of the match. And that was when the crowd got into it, because before that, the crowd weren't really into the match. They didn't really care. And at that point, Bayley, I think, did the elbow drop off the top rope. Nia would eventually, though, as Bayley went for an elbow in the corner, Nia hit her with a Uranage. She dragged her to the other corner. She hit the Annihilator, which is the top rope banzai drop that Yokozuna used to do. Bayley kicked out. The crowd also went mental for that. They went ballistic for that. Nia, eventually, though, Tiffany Stratton's music would hit as Bayley was taking control of the match again. Tiffany came out. Bayley knocked her off the ropes. Nia hit a powerbomb. She hit a second powerbomb that was more of a jackknife powerbomb. That should be another of her finishers. In fact, that should be a great signature to do, like the Annihilator. So then she hit a middle rope Annihilator and then a top rope Annihilator where she could even gloat and, you know, do the waist thing. And the top rope Annihilator hit. She crossed her arms. 1, 2, 3. She pinned Bayley, won the WWE Women's Championship. I would say, again, that was the right call. Bayley's title reign has been a little mellow. The way she won it in the match on VO Sky was fantastic. And the 3-way at Backlash was really good. But outside of that, it's been just another title reign. Kind of like... Dude, that's 3 title reigns ended already. 2 of them only started at WrestleMania. But yeah, it was a decent match. I'm going to give it 2 3/4 as well. I don't quite want to go 3 because it was quite slow and plodding. But after Bayley hit that powerbomb, fans really got into it. And I have some respect, a lot of respect for Nia Jax for coming back after being released and actually getting better and having a better moveset and having better matches. I'm a fair man, and this was decent. Decent. Well done, ladies. That leads us into the 5th match of the show, probably most people's anticipated match. The big feud between CM Punk, the best in the world, and the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre, with special guest referee Seth Rollins. Would this match have felt different if Rollins hadn't been the special ref? I think it would have maybe been better. I think that Rollins should maybe be in the story, but maybe not in the match as a referee. Enforcer maybe, Referee makes him so like much a part of the actual match, and like he has to be involved in the match. There were parts where it was good though. He came out in a bedazzled referee costume, and then Drew and Punk came out. This was Punk's obviously first proper singles WWE match in 10 years. The match I thought they had was actually really good. I thought it was good drama, good suspense, good wrestling, good storytelling, kind of everything. Meltzer said that he thought this was pretty underwhelming. I thought it was really good. They did, like, Punk came out with the first shot, a big elbow to Drew, but eventually Drew would come back. Drew would throw Seth, sorry, because there's so many people, he would throw Punk into the announce table, and he would throw him into the, they'd throw him into the announce table twice, and then he would slingshot him into the steel support under the ring. As both men were in the ring, they would both stomp the other in the corner, and Seth would give a 5 count and just say, "Stop it, I'm in charge. You know, you need to listen to me." While they were both outside the ring, Seth was just sitting on the turnbuckle, and it did cast that, oh, he's kind of distracting from what Punk and Drew are trying to do. They got back in the ring. Punk went for a high knee at one point. Drew hit him with a power slam and then hit him with a power bomb and then an Alabama slam. But Punk would keep fighting back. He would hit some big kicks and super kicks and stuff like that. And eventually he would lock in the Anaconda Vice after an elbow drop near fall, which he blew a kiss to Seth. He would grab at the Anaconda Vice, but halfway through it, he would stretch out Drew's arm and pull the bracelet off. And unfortunately, he couldn't get it back on his wrist, and he was crawling towards it to try and get it. And I think this is when Drew hit him with a Claymore for a near fall. Drew eventually went for the Future Shock, but Punk got out of that and hit a neck breaker. He just could not get that bracelet back on. And eventually, he picked Drew up for a go-to-sleep. And he picked him up for a go-to-sleep, and he saw that Seth had put the bracelet on. And Seth is saying, "I put the bracelet on so it's out of the way. It's not my bracelet, I don't put it on so it's out of the way." And Punk is just calling him everything under the sun. And Seth calls him an arsehole. And then Punk picks up Seth and hits a go-to-sleep on him. And Punk takes the bracelet off of Seth's arm, puts it back on his own. And Drew takes out CM Punk, hits a second Claymore of the match. And Seth crawls over, counts the slow 1, the slow 2, the slow 3. As pure wrestling, this was below 4 stars. Like, well below, really. Didn't do too much stuff. As a pure match, I think this was easily 4 stars. I think I really like the bracelet. Some people are a bit sour on it. I really like it. Some people think it's cheap and stuff, but I like the fact that there was this one item that means the world to Punk, and Drew took it, and that in the end cost Punk the match. Drew pins Punk 1, 2, 3 with second Claymore, and after the match he grabs his arm and he takes the bracelet back and he puts it on his own arm. And this was the most visceral reaction I had all show. All I kept going is, "You prick." Well done. Because no other match would have got that reaction out of me. Well done. I did not think I would be on Punk's side in this match. I'm even wearing a McIntyre shirt. I think it's because I thought he did so well on the show. I thought this was a great match. 4 stars. Really, really good match. Maybe because Punk is only just back, they didn't want to do too much. I assume this will lead to a Cell match or something like that. Like a Stip match unsanctioned, or a Cell, or Bad Blood is coming up, so it makes sense to do it there. Bad Blood could also be a show where Punk isn't on it, maybe to heal or to rest a bit more. But yeah, I thought this was a great match, and in the end I thought that Seth's involvement was sometimes too much, but in the end, during the finish, I thought that Seth did enough and wasn't distracting from Punk and Drew, and Punk costing it himself. Great stuff, 4 stars. Really, really like this. Best match on the show so far. That was the 5th match. The 6th match on the show was the other Raw main event, and it was the World Heavyweight Championship match as Damian Priest, the kind of de facto leader of the Judgment Day, after Rhea left and after he won the world title, taking on the Ring General Gunther. Now, if you've seen my channel before, you will know that Gunther is my favourite thing in wrestling. I love him. I think he's magnificent. And seeing Gunther in a world title match with Damien Priest very much excited me. This was the match I was most excited for on the show, and I didn't realise I was until I watched their brawl on Raw, and I was just like, oh, they're just gonna hit each other for 20 minutes. And you know what? That's pretty much what it was. There were moves, and you know, at one point Priest did a massive broken arrow where he just flung Gunther, and Gunther did all of his moves, as you would expect, but most of it was them slapping each other. And Gunther's chest was getting slapped and chopped and kicked, and it busted open. His chest was bleeding, and he wiped it off and wiped it on his face. And he was chopping Priest, and Priest was kicking Gunther, and he powerbombed Priest for a near fall. And Priest hit a South of Heaven for a near fall, and they went up top, and they did stuff on the top rope. I forgot to mention, by the way, that in the Logan Paul match with LA Knight, at one point, LA Knight gave Logan Paul a top rope suplex where he did the Shelton Benjamin leapfrog suplex, but it looked more like a top rope brainbuster, and I thought Logan Paul had died. Getting back to this Gunther Priest match though, they did a load of stuff. It was great. Honestly, it was two big guys just hitting each other, and it was awesome. They both did their finish spot, and they both got a kick out, and eventually Gunther started going for the sleeper. And this was when Finn Balor came out. And Gunther, after taking Priest down, he hit a lariat, a big lariat, a running lariat, and then like a big, small distance, massive lariat, which Priest kicked out of. Gunther would boot Finn Balor at ringside, and this incensed Damien Priest, kicking Gunther, taking him down, taking him down, everything in his power. He hit a second South of Heaven. Gunther roll. Wow, Priest. This was maybe the part, not one of the best bits. Priest essentially rolled Gunther towards the ropes. And he grabbed Gunther's inside leg, and the ref counted one. And then Finn Balor popped Gunther's leg on the rope after just being booted by the guy. He popped Gunther's foot on the ropes. And Damien Priest looked at the referee like, what's going on? And he looked at the leg. And then he looked at the big screen, which was showing a replay of Balor popping Gunther's leg on the ropes. And Finn Balor is standing there with his evil Joker face, and he turns and looks at Damien Priest. And in that moment, Gunther grabs Damien Priest in the sleeper hold and gets him down to the mat. And Damien Priest is fading. He's fading. The referee's checking his arms. And he looks at Finn Balor, and Finn Balor is snarling at Damien Priest. And Damien Priest goes, no. And he gets up, and he fights back, and he gets Gunther off. And he makes the mistake of going to grab Finn Balor, and he grabs him by the throat. And then Gunther grabs Damien Priest, and he powerbombs him, and he locks him in the sleeper again. And Finn Balor is snarling at Damien Priest again. And this time, Damien Priest passes out. Gunther is the new World Heavyweight Champion. I'm so happy. I'm so happy we got a great match here with these two. I thought this was the best thing on the show. I knew it would be the best thing on the show, mainly because it's a Gunther match. But Damien Priest more than held up his end of the bargain. He's had a decent title reign. Damien Priest has had some really good matches. This was the crescendo to his title reign. 4.25 stars. It wasn't as good as the Sami match, and it wasn't as good as many other Gunther matches. But it was still great. And Damien Priest held his own again with Gunther here as far as power and chops and slaps. And it was a bit similar to the Bronson Reed match. It was nice to see a match where Gunther wasn't just against a smaller guy. And this match ruled. Really liked it. 4.25 stars. Favourite thing on the show. Best thing on the show. Let's move on. After the matchup, Finn Balor is still there, snarling at Damien Priest. So I assume that's where we're going. Finn Balor could be Bash at Berlin's the next show. And Finn Balor could very well be an opponent for Gunther at the next show. I can't see them doing Priest because he would get booed, and they don't want him to be booed if he's a babyface. Or you could do McIntyre, but you maybe don't want McIntyre losing or Punk costing him again. We've had that kind of 3 times. One of the things I didn't like about the Punk-McIntyre feud is that they wasted the Money in the Bank. So they had LA Knight in there, and they had Andrade and Chad Gable and Carmelo Hayes, people who really could have benefited from the Money in the Bank, and he just gave it to Drew, and it went like that. And then no problem with Drew, and it did help the story. Drew maybe could have just been in the match, and it could have been a three-way, and they could have just done it like that. But yeah, I've maybe seen that too many times now for them to do Drew at Bash in Berlin. But it could be Priest and it could be Balor. Could be three-way. I don't even know if WWE tend to do rematches anymore for titles. Maybe not, because Io didn't get one, I don't think. Roman obviously didn't get one. Gunther didn't get one. So yeah, they don't tend to do rematches anymore, which for me is a good thing. When you lose the belt, you lose the belt. You shouldn't get a rematch. But yes, let's move on. The main event of the show, the 7th match of the show, the main event, Solo Sikoa, the new tribal chief, the new leader of the Bloodline, taking on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, one of my favourite wrestlers. There's a lot to unpack here. The new Bloodline is a good project. I think Solo is still not really there yet to be main eventing SummerSlam. He's got a fairly boring moveset. I think that Roman's a star, and I think that Roman could get away with kind of having a pretty basic moveset. The new Bloodline is pretty good. Jacob Fatu is awesome. Tama Tonga is pretty good. Tanga Loa I've never been convinced of, even when he was in GOD. The Gorillas of Destiny, that people don't know. I've never been too convinced of. So we'll see where it goes. But this was a Bloodline rules match, and that basically meant it was going to go very long. The first half of it, nobody really cared about. Like they did things and they did stuff. Like they did things, and Cody did super kicks, and Solo did hip attacks and stuff like that. And eventually, Cody would hit a crossroads, and Tama Tonga. Oh, I've got to mention Cody's walkout, by the way. He walked down through the backstage area with his dog. He met Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson said, "I've got some friends for you," basically. And that kind of told the story of, we know this match doesn't mean anything until the Bloodline and Cody's allies get involved. So when Cody hit his first crossroads, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa came out, and eventually then Kevin Owens' music hit, and he came out and he helped, and Randy Orton's music hit, and he came out and he was waving and clapping and high-fiving everybody while his friends were getting beat up in the ring. But they eventually got rid of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. But then Cody would kind of fight back. Him and Solo would have a little fight. He would hit Solo would miss a hip attack against the steps to Cody, and Cody would hit a big top rope Cody cutter, which was cool. Don't think Solo ever hit the Samoan spike. He hit a massive Samoan drop earlier in the match though, where he flung poor Cody. The crowd were chanting "Yeet" at this point, by the way, and I think they wanted Jey Uso to come out, and Jey Uso would have been a good choice to come out here, but maybe they're distancing Jey away from the Bloodline so that when he comes back later, it's a bit more surprising. It's also on the other brand. It's on the wrong brand. Which shouldn't mean anything on a pay-per-view like this. But I digress. It would hit a big top rope Cody cutter, and that would be a double down. Oh, no, it wouldn't. That would come a bit later. He hit a Cody cutter. He hit a crossroads. He hit a second crossroads. And then Jacob Fatu came in with a big whisper in the wind. Hit a big whisper in the wind to Cody. Cody's down. Hit a massive moonsault to Cody. Jacob Fatu is awesome. And that is a match I assume they will do eventually, Cody and Jacob Fatu. Or they could do a tag match with Jacob Fatu and Solo against Cody and a mystery partner we'll get to soon. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Jacob Fatu threw oh wait, no, they did. He popped Solo on top of Cody. Cody kicked out at 2. Then Solo says, "Put him through the table." Jacob Fatu puts Cody on the table with a super kick, and then he does a big Samoan splash to Cody through the table, and he hurts his ankle as he does it, and I do hope he's not injured because he just won the tag title, and if he's injured, that means that Tonga Loa is probably going to get the tag title. Anyway, so yeah, Jacob Fati's injured and he's shouting orders. He's really pissed off. He was really pissed off. So I assume it was a proper injury and he got banged up. Solo eventually looked like he was a little bit hesitant, kind of didn't know what to do because I assumed that Jacob would have been part of the next spot. He threw Cody in the ring. He did a top rope Uso splash, which Cody kicked out of. Cody did get up, back up finally, and he hit the top rope Cody cutter, as I said, for a double down. And then the real Tribal Chief Roman Reigns' music hits, and the crowd, who had been chanting "We want Roman" a lot of this match, went ballistic. They went mental. And out came Roman Reigns to his WrestleMania music, which was more drummy. It was awesome. I loved it. Really like his new rendition of his music. And he came down to the ring, and he made it completely clear who he was going for. Because Corey was like, he's coming to get the man who... Corey was like, he's coming to get the man who took his title from him. And then Pat was like, well, maybe he's coming to get the man who said he'd never return. There'd never be a Roman Reigns again. And Roman looked at Solo, ran in the ring, gave him a Superman punch, stood in the corner, did his hoorah, gave him a spear, looked at Cody, and got out of the ring. Crowd were mental for all that. Cody picks up Solo, hits the crossroads, 1, 2, 3. The story is what's important in this match, and the story is that Roman Reigns is back, and he is pissed at Solo for being so disrespectful. And this eventually, I assume, will lead to Survivor Series, which will be War Games, and it will be Team New Bloodline against Team Old Bloodline. I assume Roman's Bloodline will be the Usos and Sami, because I think Sami returning to the Bloodline would be one of the best stories they could ever do. Like, the way Sami left the Bloodline, and the way that Roman can get Jimmy on side easily, because Jimmy was taken out by Tama Tonga and Solo. Jay on side will be much harder. Last year, Roman basically destroyed Jay and his brother's tag team. And Sami's biggest moment of his career in Montreal was destroyed by Roman. So, it's going to be a good story. I'm very much looking forward to how they do that. And obviously, Solo's side will be Solo, Tama Tonga, Tanga Loa, and Jacob Fatu, we see. Could be a fifth man. Could even be Cody on that side. And then Hikuleo or Zilla Fatu. You never know. Could be anyone. Main event-wise, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Like, it was probably better than last year's Tribal Rules match with Jay and Roman, which I overrated because it was really long. And I really liked the closing stretch. I did overrate it, though. And I know the error of my ways now. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. It wasn't Cody's best title defense. But we got there in the end, and it was 29 minutes. It was a bit long. Solo maybe should have been the main event. Solo didn't really have to main event the show with Cody, but it's the WWE Championship, and Roman returned, so you kind of knew when it was made the main event, kind of had to return. And that was Summerslam 2024. It's been quite a long video. It feels like a long video. But 7 matches. I said that all of them were at least decent. Initially, I was going to give the show a 7. That seems a bit harsh, considering I said there was no bad wrestling. And no bad booking. I actually thought every finish was solid. The fact there was 5 consecutive spots about going into the ring post, a lot of people won't even notice. I might not even noticed unless I'd heard Dave Meltzer say it. So, I digress. I'm going to give it 7.5. I can't give it 8. I think that most of the matches were great. Well, were good. The 2 worst matches were the Breaker match because I knew what it was, and the Nia Jax match, which was better than it probably should have been. And the best match was Priest and Gunther. They just beat the hell out of each other. And Punk and McIntyre was great in a completely different way. I thought they had a really, really good story, and I thought it had a great payoff and climax. And then, the rest of it, LA Knight winning the belt. There was 4 title changes on this show. Big deal, big newsworthy show. We got Roman returning, or, Cody was in the main event with Solo. It was a newsworthy show. And most of it was really good. The implosion of the Judgment Day It was really good. So I'm going to say 7.5, 7.5 out of 10. Can't quite give it an 8, but I think it's just better than a 7, so 7.5 out of 10. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts. What did you think to SummerSlam 2024? What was your favourite match on the show? Mine was obviously Damian Priest and Gunther. What was your least favourite match on the show? I'd probably say Bron and Sami, just because it was so short. What did you think to the return of Roman? I thought it was great. What did you think to Punk and McIntyre? And what do you think will happen at the next pay-per-view, which I believe is Bash in Berlin? Fingers crossed I'm right. Hopefully I'll see you guys again relatively soon. And hopefully we can get some videos uploaded to my channel. Because I'm very passionate about this channel. I love it. I've done it for so long. And even if it's just another platinum video, which you'll see, there have been a bunch of those lately. Even if they're short 15-second ones. I love putting content on this channel. And it keeps me sane. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been Revolver Slot. Like, comment and subscribe for more.